standing at the edge of existence, where 5 mythical rivers separate the world of the living from the realm of the dead. These aren't ordinary waters. They're the sacred rivers of Hades, each flowing with essence more powerful than any mortal force. Today, we're diving deep into one of Greek mythology's most fascinating aspects, the 5 rivers that shape the geography of the underworld and the fate of every soul. In ancient Greek belief, when someone died, their soul had to navigate these mysterious waters to reach their final destination. The Greeks didn't see death as an end, but rather a transition, and these 5 rivers were the pathways through which every soul had to pass. Let's begin with the Acheron, known as the River of Woe. Picture dark waters churning with the grief of countless souls who have passed through its depths. The ancient Greeks believed this was the main entrance to the underworld, where Charon, the infamous ferryman, would wait with his boat. Only those who could pay with a golden coin, traditionally placed in the mouth of the deceased, would be granted passage. Those who couldn't pay were doomed to wander its shores for 100 years. Next flows the Phlegethon, the River of Fire. Unlike any river in our world, its waters burn with eternal flames. This river of liquid fire encircles Tartarus, the deepest and most terrible part of the underworld, where the greatest sinners face their punishment. The ancient Greeks believed its burning waters were used to torture the wicked, with flames that could never be extinguished. Perhaps the most famous is the River Styx, the river of hatred and unbreakable oaths. This is the river by which the gods themselves swear their most solemn vows. Legend tells us that when the goddess Thetis dipped her son Achilles into these waters, he became nearly invulnerable, except for his heel, which never touched the water. The Styx was believed to be so powerful that its waters could even dissolve metal, representing the absolute nature of divine promises. The 4th river, the Cocytus, is known as the River of Lamentation. Its waters echo with the wails and cries of the dead who realize their fate. The Greeks believed this river formed from the tears of those condemned to Tartarus, creating an endless cycle of sorrow. Its banks are said to be lined with weeping willows, their branches trailing in the dark waters below. Finally, we come to the Lethe, the River of Forgetfulness. This might be the most philosophically intriguing of all the rivers. Those who drank from its waters would forget their entire mortal life. Every joy, every sorrow, every memory would be washed away. The Greeks believed this river was crucial for reincarnation, as souls preparing to return to the world of the living would drink from the Lethe to begin their new life with a clean slate. These rivers weren't just geographical features of the underworld. They represented fundamental aspects of the human experience with death. The Acheron embodied the sorrow of separation. The Phlegethon represented divine justice. The Styx stood for the finality of death and the weight of promises. The Cocytus reflected the natural grief of loss, and the Lethe symbolized the possibility of renewal and rebirth. The influence of these 5 rivers extends far beyond ancient Greece. Their names and meanings have permeated literature, art, and popular culture throughout history. Dante referenced them in his Divine Comedy, and countless artists have depicted their mysterious waters. Even today, we use phrases like Stygian darkness to describe something particularly gloomy or impenetrable. Modern psychology has found parallels between these rivers and the stages of grief. The Acheron represents denial and isolation, the Phlegethon anger, the Cocytus bargaining, the Styx depression, and the Lethe acceptance. This shows how deeply the ancient Greeks understood human nature and our relationship with mortality. The rivers also reflect the Greek understanding of justice and cosmic order. They believed that every action had consequences, and these rivers were part of the divine mechanism that ensured fairness in the afterlife. The wealthy couldn't bribe their way to a better fate, and the wicked couldn't escape their punishment. Today, as we face our own questions about mortality and justice, these ancient rivers continue to resonate. They remind us that every culture grapples with the same fundamental questions. What happens after death? How do we face our past actions? What does it mean to start anew? The 5 rivers of Hades stand as a testament to the sophistication of Greek mythology and its enduring relevance. They tell us that death isn't simply an end, but a complex journey through sorrow, justice, binding oaths, lamentation, and ultimately, the possibility of renewal. In their dark waters, we see reflected our own hopes, fears, and eternal questions about what lies beyond the veil of mortality. What would you sacrifice for unlimited knowledge? In ancient Greece, legends spoke of a mystical spring hidden beneath the gleaming marble temples of Athens, where divine wisdom flowed as freely as water. This was Athene's wisdom well, a sacred source of knowledge that promised enlightenment to those deemed worthy, but at what cost? Ancient Greek mythology tells us that when Athene, goddess of wisdom and strategic warfare, emerged fully grown from Zeus's forehead, drops of divine knowledge fell to earth. Where these drops landed, a miraculous spring burst forth, its waters infused with the very essence of wisdom itself. The Athenians, ever devoted to their patron goddess, built a sacred sanctuary around this spring, believing it to be a direct link to divine understanding. The well's waters were said to shimmer with an otherworldly blue light, reflecting not just the physical world, but glimpses of universal truths. Those who gazed into its depth reported seeing visions of past and future events, understanding complex philosophical concepts, and gaining insights into the very nature of existence. But like all divine gifts in Greek mythology, this one came with strict conditions and dire warnings. Not everyone could approach the wisdom well. Athene herself appointed guardians, priestesses known as the Sophiae, who maintained the sanctuary and determined who could access its waters. These women, chosen for their wisdom and devotion, underwent years of rigorous training before taking their sacred posts. They were said to possess the ability to read the true intentions of those who sought the well's knowledge. Stories tell of philosophers, artists, and leaders who made pilgrimages to the well. Some emerged transformed, their minds expanded beyond mortal understanding. Others were driven to madness, unable to process the vast knowledge suddenly flooding their consciousness. The well's waters, it seemed, could either illuminate or overwhelm the human mind. One famous tale speaks of Euryphos, a brilliant young scholar who became obsessed with unlocking all of the well's secrets. Despite warnings from the Sophiae, he attempted to drink deeply from the spring during a sacred full moon ceremony. The waters granted him extraordinary insight into the cosmos, but the price was steep. He could no longer relate to ordinary humans, speaking in riddles that none could understand. He spent his remaining days wandering the hills of Athens, sharing profound truths that only the gods could comprehend. Another story tells of Cleobula, a humble pottery maker who approached the well not seeking power or universal knowledge, but simply understanding to better serve her community. The waters responded to her pure intentions, granting her practical wisdom that she used to become one of Athens' most respected advisors. Her tale became a lesson in the importance of wisdom's purpose rather than its mere possession. The well's powers extended beyond individual enlightenment. It was said that in times of great crisis, the city's leaders would gather at the sanctuary, seeking guidance through carefully controlled rituals. The Sophiae would interpret the well's waters, helping to guide Athens through war, plague, and political turmoil. Some historians suggest that the city's golden age of philosophy and democracy was influenced by the wisdom flowing from Athene's spring. But as with many sacred sites in ancient Greece, the well's influence began to wane as rationalism and skepticism grew. Some claimed the well's powers were merely metaphorical, representing the human pursuit of knowledge rather than actual divine wisdom. Others insisted that its waters still held their power, but that modern minds had lost the ability to properly receive their gifts. The physical location of Athene's wisdom well remains a matter of debate among historians and archaeologists. Some believe it lies beneath the Acropolis, while others suggest it was hidden by the Sophii to protect it from those who would abuse its power. Yet its legacy lives on in the philosophical traditions born in ancient Athens, where the pursuit of wisdom was considered the highest calling. The story of Athene's wisdom well resonates deeply with our modern quest for knowledge and understanding. It reminds us that true wisdom is more than mere information. It requires discernment, proper intention, and the wisdom to know its limits. In an age of unlimited information at our fingertips, the well's lessons about the responsibility that comes with knowledge remain surprisingly relevant. Perhaps the most profound message of Athene's wisdom well is that divine knowledge, while powerful, must be balanced with human understanding. The most successful seekers were those who approached the well with humility and purpose, not those who sought power for its own sake. In this way, the well serves as both inspiration and warning to all who pursue knowledge, reminding us that wisdom's true value lies not in its accumulation, but in how we use it to benefit others. As we reflect on this ancient tale, we might ask ourselves, what will we seek from such a well today? And more importantly, are we prepared for the responsibility that comes with divine knowledge? The answers, like the waters of Athene's well, might be both enlightening and challenging to our modern sensibilities. Love and war, two forces that seem eternally opposed, yet inexplicably drawn together. In the realm of Greek mythology, no tale better illustrates this magnetic attraction than the scandalous affair between Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, and Ares, the fierce god of war. But what happens when divine passion collides with marriage vows? The answer lies in one of mythology's most captivating tales of love, betrayal, and revenge. Aphrodite, born from the sea foam near Cyprus, embodied everything beautiful and desirable in the world. Her radiance was so overwhelming that Zeus himself feared her beauty would cause war among the gods. To prevent divine chaos, he arranged her marriage to Hephaestus, the master craftsman of Olympus. While Hephaestus created objects of extraordinary beauty, he himself was lame and considered the least attractive of the gods. Despite her marriage, Aphrodite's heart yearned for another. Ares, the powerful god of war, caught her attention with his strength, confidence, and passionate nature. Where Hephaestus was calm and methodical, Ares was fierce and impulsive. The attraction between love and war proved irresistible, and soon Aphrodite and Ares began their clandestine romance. Their secret meetings took place in Aphrodite's chamber, where they thought themselves safe from prying eyes. But in the realm of the gods, secrets rarely remain hidden for long. Helios, the all-seeing sun god, witnessed their encounters from his daily journey across the sky. Bound by his sense of justice, he informed Hephaestus of his wife's infidelity. Rather than confronting the lovers directly, Hephaestus channeled his pain and anger into what he did best, crafting. He forged an intricate bronze net, so fine it was nearly invisible, yet stronger than any chains. This masterpiece of divine engineering would become his instrument of revenge and public justice. Pretending to leave for his forge on the island of Lemnos, Hephaestus set his trap. He carefully arranged the magical net above his marriage bed, where it waited like a spider's web for its unsuspecting prey. The trap was set with such precision that even gods would be unable to detect or escape it. As expected, Aphrodite and Ares seized the opportunity of Hephaestus's apparent absence. The moment they came together, the net dropped, ensnaring them in its unbreakable mesh. They struggled, but the more they moved, the tighter the net became. Hephaestus had crafted his revenge perfectly, but simple capture wasn't enough for the wronged husband. He summoned all the gods to witness his triumph and their shame. The male gods arrived to find the lovers trapped, exposed in their intimate embrace. The goddesses, out of modesty or perhaps solidarity with Aphrodite, stayed away. The scene became both a spectacle and a scandal that would be talked about for centuries to come. The reactions of the assembled gods revealed much about divine nature. Some, like Apollo, maintained a dignified silence. Others, led by Hermes, couldn't resist joking about the situation, claiming they wouldn't mind being caught in such a compromising position with the goddess of love. Their laughter echoed through the halls of Olympus, adding humiliation to the lovers' predicament. Poseidon, taking pity on the situation, intervened as mediator. He persuaded Hephaestus to release the couple, promising that Ares would pay compensation for the dishonor. The god of war was forced to pay a hefty fine, though some versions of the tale suggest he simply fled to his homeland of Thrace, once released. This tale resonated deeply with the ancient Greeks, who saw in it reflections of their own lives and relationships. The story spoke to universal themes of love, jealousy, betrayal, and the consequences of giving in to forbidden desires. It showed that even the gods, with all their power and immortality, were not immune to the complications of the heart. The myth also carried important social commentary. It questioned the nature of arranged marriages, highlighted the conflict between duty and desire, and explored the price of public humiliation. The Greeks used this story to discuss complex moral issues while being entertained by divine drama. The influence of this tale extends far beyond ancient Greece. Artists throughout history have captured the moment of the lovers' discovery in paintings and sculptures. Writers have reimagined the story countless times, each finding new meaning in this tale of passion and consequence. Even today, the phrase, "caught in a compromising position," echoes the crafty trap of Hephaestus. Perhaps most importantly, this myth reminds us that love, war, and craft, embodied by Aphrodite, Ares, and Hephaestus, are forces that continue to shape human experience. The story survives because it speaks to eternal truths about desire, jealousy, and the complex web of relationships that define both divine and mortal lives. In the end, the tale of Aphrodite and Ares teaches us that no power, not even divine authority, can fully control the unpredictable forces of love and passion. It stands as a testament to the Greek understanding that the gods, like humans, were complex beings capable of both great achievement and tremendous folly. In the unfathomable depths of cosmic time, when the universe was young and gods walked among mortals, a profound truth emerged: the power of sacred vows to transform consciousness and bridge the gap between the human and divine. These weren't mere promises, but mystical keys that could unlock the gates of spiritual liberation. The Puranas tell us that in the beginning, when the great Lord Brahma first created the universe, he noticed a fundamental challenge. The cosmic forces were in constant flux, causing chaos in the minds and hearts of living beings. To establish order and provide a path to higher consciousness, Brahma initiated the first sacred vow commitment to maintain universal Dharma for an entire cosmic day. As the story goes, The celestial sage Narada once asked Lord Brahma about the origin of these sacred vows. Brahma revealed how the first vows emerged from the primordial ocean of consciousness itself. When the great churning of the cosmic ocean took place, along with divine nectar and celestial treasures, emerged the essence of spiritual disciplines, the sacred vows. The power of these vows first manifested when the great goddess Parvati undertook severe austerities to win Lord Shiva's heart. For thousands of years, she observed the most rigorous vows, standing on one leg, surviving only on fallen leaves, and finally sustaining herself on air alone. Her unwavering dedication not only earned Shiva's grace, but established the transformative potential of sacred vows for all humanity. The Puranas speak of how these divine practices gradually descended to the human realm. The great sage Vasishtha received the knowledge of vows through deep meditation and shared them with humanity. He taught that every sacred vow carries within it a seed of divine power, waiting to blossom through sincere practice. Among the most powerful vows revealed was the Ekadashi Vrata, born from an extraordinary cosmic event. When the demon Mura threatened the balance of the universe, Lord Vishnu entered into yogic sleep. From his divine body emerged a maiden of incredible power, Ekadashi. She vanquished the demon and became personified as the sacred vow of fasting on the 11th day of every lunar fortnight. The Puranas explain how different vows emerged to address various human needs and spiritual aspirations. The Savitri Vrata arose when the devoted wife Savitri used the power of her sacred vow to reclaim her husband